All right, hey guys, we had some tough technical difficulties, and it's weird because I literally said earlier that I wasn't having any technical difficulties. So let me know right now if you guys are just now seeing this for the first time. We're 11 minutes in, or if it was going earlier and it cut off, because I'm not really sure what is happening, and it looks like it's actually freezing right now. So I'm not 100% sure, but drop me a comment on YouTube and let me know what you guys can see. It looks like it's moving now. I think sometimes my screen gets a little overwhelmed with all the stuff that's going on. So let me know if you guys can see it now in the comments. All right, we got, okay, perfect. Oh, you're just seeing it. I did 11 minutes worth of a show, you guys. And then Jen said, I don't see it on there. So that was a little bit awkward. So my lucky panelists are going to be hearing everything twice. Sorry guys, but you know, life happens. That's what I get for jinxing myself by saying, yay, no technical difficulties today. All right, so let's get back into it. Let me get myself squared away here. If you guys are not familiar with my channel, I want to share my mission with you. My mission is to bridge the communication gap between men and women. I think a lot of times we have more in common than we think, but the issue is that we just aren't speaking the same language. So I try to have these conversations so that we can try to end this gender war and get on the same page. So tonight we're going to be talking about who has the most to lose while dating. There's a lot that is put on the line when you are getting to know someone, and I want to see who has the most risk. If you have not done so already, shame on you. Just kidding, not really. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, and if you click the notification bell, YouTube will alert you when new content drops, which I do Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then of course on Sundays I go live at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is 7 Central and 8 Eastern. You can also see my social media links right here if you'd like to follow me. I'm pretty much everywhere as Chasing Yonci. I also have merchandise that's available, you guys. Bear with me while I go through my church announcements, but I've got some merchandise that I want to show you. I'm actually going to move this up just 1 second, you guys, so I don't get myself confused. All right, so I've got some lovely graphics here and my children modeling them for us. I have on the left my little girl modeling You Had Me at Black, and I am on the right wearing Hope Dealer. If you guys want to get that, you can go ahead and get that from my store. Let me see if I can get the second screen up here. I've got my lovely son here. He is wearing the Be the Light shirt, which is temporarily out of stock until my printer gets a new piece of equipment that can print on black. So for now, we're just doing the white, which also includes Believe. And I'm very excited because if I can get my little graphics together, you guys have no idea what it's like trying to talk and click buttons at the same time, and I never seem to do it gracefully. I dropped 2 ebooks this week that I am very proud of. The very first one is for women, and it's First Date 101, it's a man's guide. You see it's crossed out woman, a man's guide to dating a man. And no, this is not for same-sex couples. This is for women who are interested in hearing feedback from men. So I polled many men, thousands of men, and asked them the things that they wish women wouldn't do and would do on the first date. I saw the things that everybody agreed with, and then I put those unanimous items in a book neatly compiled just for you. So cool thing is it's downloadable, so you can have it tonight if you order it tonight. It's only $8, but wait, it gets better. You can use the coupon code FIRST20 if you would like to get 50% off. And if somebody would be so kind to type in the comments, FIRST20, that is the coupon code you will need, and the first 20 people can have access to that. The other book is Why Women Love Assholes. Now, this is because a lot of guys who are self-proclaimed good guys get really frustrated when they feel like they are being overlooked by a guy who isn't even great. The reason is because it's not that women like being treated badly, but there are a lot of characteristics that an asshole has that really catches a woman's attention. Unfortunately, she's just at a loss because he doesn't have her best interest at heart. So the best thing to do is teach good guys these tactics so that they can use them for good and not for evil. All right, guys, so that is all the church announcements that I have for today. I'm so sorry for the wait. I'm going to go ahead and get my, see who's in the green room. And I'm going to get squared away with this camera so we can come on and get started with the bang here. All right, make sure I've got everybody set up before I bring you guys back on. Anyone want to sing the hold music for me? All right, we are almost there. We're almost there. All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. Woo! Okay, that was a lot of work. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around for 2 shows.
Hi.
Oh, my goodness. I forgot to hit Do Not Disturb on my computer. I'm telling you guys, my daughter's probably like, dang, why she send me the voicemail like that? Sorry, daughter. All right, we're going to turn off. Perfect. Okay, sorry, guys. All right, so we have some new faces. I swear I try to be a little more professional. Not really. So, but sorry for all the craziness today. She's calling me back like, no, Mom, you tried it. All right, so we're going to start with Allie here in the top corner. Hey, lady, if you want to let us know where you are watching from, you can get as specific or mysterious as you want because you never know about these creeps out here. Just kidding, not really. Where are you watching and joining us from?
I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. Well, Southeast Phoenix, Gilbert to be exact, by way of LA, or Cali.
Hey.
Hey.
Cheers to you. I'll cheers you with my water. And who else do we have new? Devance, would you like to go next? Let them know where you're watching from. It's your first time on.
Atlanta. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Very nice, very nice. And we have Jason, last but certainly not least. Where are you joining us from, Jason?
How's everybody doing? Jason Hayes from Atlanta, Georgia as well.
Very nice, very nice. All right, guys, so we are going to get right into this conversation. I apologize if it freezes for a second. It's just me trying to get my stuff together over here. But I think that I am good to go. I really should have 2 systems open so that I can see everything at once. So let me do some shout outs. We have Akira, the faithful one from Long Beach. Oh, I didn't even say hello to the other people. It's like you guys are chopped liver. I'm so sorry. Jen, hello. Welcome back. My manners.
Hi.
Jerome, how you doing, darling?
Good to be here. Good to be here.
Doug, nice to see you, even though you're muted. Nice to see you, sir. Okay, perfect. And then we got Monica down there at the bottom. Lovely. Hello, darling. All right, so let me do my shout out. So we got Akira, the faithful one from Long Beach. We have I can't read that far. Averman, I don't know the actual name, from Covington, Georgia. We've got Jen, obviously coming from Ohio. She jumped in the comments. And let's see. We got Sai from Chicago. I think Sai might be joining us in a little bit. I hope she is. But I wonder if she has a login information. Let me check. Oh, yep. She says, I don't have tonight's login information. So I'm going to go ahead and send that to her really quick. You guys, we can't have it without her. So if you're watching, girl, well, obviously you're watching. Why do I always say that? If you're watching, you just commented. So obviously you are. All right. So I'm just going to send this to you really quick. It's a good thing that we're super informal because otherwise this could be awkward. Okay. All right, we got to bring her on. Come on, phone. There we go. All right, girl. So I just sent it to you. So she can come on. She's going to be joining us from Chicago. And then thank you so much, Jerome, for typing that. And it's actually the second way. I didn't say no space. It is no space. So live to tell, copy that way. So first, no space, 20. And then we have Terry watching from Washington, D.C. And I actually saw him on a meet and greet last month. So that was pretty cool. All right. So, and I'm OCD for symmetry. So I'm really excited that we're going to have 3, 3, and 3 in the Zoom field. And we're not I really shouldn't admit that out loud, but that's going to make me happy. So Sai, get on in here when you can. All right. So let's talk about who has the most to lose from dating. Let's just go without giving an explanation. Let's just quickly do a poll and see who invests the most. And I'm purposely not giving a lot of description when I say investment. When you just think of investment, who do you think invests more, the guy or the girl? And I'm going to go in that same order. Well, I'm going to go in the order of the screen. So I'm going to go Allie, Devance, Jason, then Jerome, then Jen, then Doug, and then Monica. Okay? All right. So go ahead, Allie. Who would you say invests more? On the front end of dating.
Women invest more on the front end.
Okay. Devance?
I agree.
Okay.
On the front end, I agree.
Okay. What about Jason?
I think men invest more.
Okay. And Jerome?
I think men invest more in the front end.
Okay, I'm surprised by some of these answers. Okay, Jen, what about you?
Are we specifying that investment?
Uh-huh.
You know, I always have to give it a
Come on, cuz.
Oh, flip the coin.
It's 50-50 for me.
Okay, so you think it's fair? Because that's the ultimate goal of the conversation is to make it fair. So if you think it's already fair, then we're good.
Well, I don't know if it's fair. I just
Not
know
fair.
that men invest
Not
more monetarily and women invest more emotion. So
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, don't get to the good stuff yet. Don't get to the good stuff, girl.
Getting some, yeah.
Like, okay, Doug. All right, I'm gonna make y'all commit at first. So, Doug, who do you think invests more? And shout out to South Africa. We have a first time from South Africa. Hello. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce your name. I'm gonna say PR. Okay, and then Chastity, she is here. She said she's here watching ads. Y'all, I'm sorry for the ads. It's actually something that YouTube implemented ironically, even though I did just get monetized, so that causes ads as well. But they started doing it no matter what. They're running ads on everyone's pages, even the people who are not monetized, which means they're getting their coins and the creator's not. So it's it's brand new. And by the way, if anyone has two devices unmuted, please make sure you put the other one all the way down because there's a little bit of kickback happening. So that was actually really funny, Chastity. All right, so Monica, who do you say? All right, no, Doug, I don't think I got your answer. I think I just started talking over you. Who do you say invests more at the beginning? I didn't hear. What do you say?
I say
Men? Okay. And Monica, what would you say?
Men.
Okay. And then Sai, she's just coming.
You, Monica. Wait, what was the question?
You knew the question. You knew the question, Monica. You ain't new here. You are not new here.
The question is who invests more?
In the initial stages of dating.
Right. Is who invests more in the, I think it's men.
Okay.
Come on. That's...
All right. So Sai is still off camera, but if you want to chime in just with your voice, Sai, you can do so, as I am curious. So I think we only had two votes for women, was it?
I think it's both.
You think it's both? You think
It's
it's
my girl side. Here we go.
Hi, everyone.
hey? Every time I see her, I think of her. I think of that gift because she be doing that little hey, and that's exactly her energy. I love gang. Okay, I love it. All right, so we're gonna start to talk. Jen started to go there, which she didn't know my notes, but she's all in them. But I want to talk about that's okay. I want to talk about the way that we invest because I had this really interesting conversation with a guy, and granted, it's just one person; he doesn't speak for everyone. But that's why I wanted to have a panel, and then also have the people weighing in, on the YouTube comments, because what he was talking about was like the incentive, right? So if you really strip it down, and this is for the purpose of the conversation, I'm going to oversimplify it because there are obviously multiple dynamics in a relationship. But would you say it's fair to say that if you were to take one big chunk and assign it to men's what they value, would you say a big chunk of it is physical? Can you raise your hand if we would agree on that statement? That a big chunk, if we were to take a pie of what they want out of a woman, a big chunk falls under physical. Okay. And then if you were to take a pie for women and say, what do you want from a man? Would you say a big chunk is emotional support? Like we like the other stuff too, but that's a big, you would not say? Okay, so what would you say their biggest piece is if you were to take the biggest incentive for women?
Security.
Or finances. Okay.
Stability.
I would actually agree stability is a huge chunk. Okay, so, but it's definitely not physical for the sake of the conversation, okay? So that being the case, and by the way, guys, in the comments as well, comment men if you think men invest more in the front end, or women if you think women invest more in the front end. So the reason why, like I said, is because he was saying that kind of like the goal line is getting laid. Just, we're all adults here, right? We can be blunt. It's getting laid. So even if he's not an asshole, even if he's not like just wanting sex, that is part of the package. So for him, he's not getting that ROI. He's not getting that payout until he knocks, boots, if we can go to the 90s for that term. And then with the woman, she tends to want to hold out until she knows that there is some security. Whether that security is in emotions or finances or whatever, that's kind of what she's waiting for. So does that make sense where I'm coming from, guys? The basis of this? All right. So this is what I want to talk about. Stability is finance. Nice. So this is what I want to talk about is who invests more. I'm so sorry. We're still getting feedback, and I cannot figure out why. So weird.
I disagree. Stability isn't totally financial. It includes a lot of things in stability. It's security. It's finances. It's not just financial. So
emotional stability. They're
so that we're safe.
it's very broad. You want to talk about stability.
I like
from your mate.
What's that?
Protection. You want a man that
Protection.
can go anywhere with and feel safe.
I kind of like the stability word because it kind of encompasses all that. It's kind of like if you think of her as being on a sturdy platform, she wants to feel safe, and then he wants to get action. That's it, because for the purpose of argument, I want to really narrow it down to two pillars so that we can say. So here's the thing:
safety, security, sex.
Where do
in that order?
Right. So if a woman, I'm going to speak for myself. I'm not physically comfortable being physically intimate with a man until I feel stable and safe emotionally and all otherwise. Now,
correct.
With a guy, I've heard men say, I can't fully get invested emotionally until I've had her physically. What do you guys think about that statement? Is that a fair statement?
That's fair.
I don't think it is.
Okay, so I want to hear both of your take then.
Go ahead, Jason.
So for me, and it could just be my age bracket. I mean, I feel like I need mental stimulation. Because I can have certain conversations here and then I can shoot way up here real quickly. And so I feel like, I think one of the women that I recently dated, like one of the things that kind of got me really locked in is she kicked my ass in Scrabble. I don't know if I can curse on here. I don't know. Anyway, she beat me in Scrabble and she beat me so bad. Like, it was kind of like, yes. You know what I mean? Like, there's that mental challenge there. So to me, the physical is a portion of it, but then as we started the conversation, it was like, well, men like the physical, right? So everybody had their hand up, and then you talk about stability for women. So when I'm thinking about that for a second, it's like, okay, physical is like this much, right? What a guy's attracted to. Stability, as we just defined it, went like this. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's a lot. That is a whole lot. And then to me, you have to tell me what that stability looks like.
Okay.
Or else I'm not going to know.
So, question for that. So, for the sake of...
It's different for each person, though.
For the sake of argument, though, on the point that you just made, Jason, if you didn't have the physical, right? Let's say that you went a year in the relationship and you didn't get the physical. Would you feel like you didn't... Bear with me for this using this term. I don't mean to be crass, but an ROI. Would you feel like you got robbed from your investment? Versus if you had a whole year relationship and you guys had been intimate and do all this stuff, would you feel like you got robbed?
If we're still together, no. If we're not together, heck yeah.
That's what I mean. So sorry. That's what I mean. So all the return on investment is like, we dated, I went through all this XYZ, and now we're not even together. So for a woman, she's looking at it like, usually, dang, I didn't mind having sex with him, but had I known it wasn't going to pan out, I would have never had sex with him. Because that's something, like, I didn't get a return on my investment. If I'm asleep with him, I want to have a relationship. So that's why I'm kind of pigeonholing it into, like, those broad categories. So I feel like if you guys didn't have that mental connection or whatever, you're not going to be like, oh, shucks. Like, I didn't have that.
So I have to say this, and I believe the men all agree. A woman that we can have sex with too quickly and too easily, we don't see her as wifey material. We just don't. And that's real.
I'm looking to see if any heads are bobbing.
Men, know. So we talked about the physical, right? It's the physical that'll bring us over there. And as Jason said, the intellect, the being able to have a stimulating conversation, like a challenge mentally, is what keeps us there.
Correct.
And I'll say this: I waited a year and a half with my first wife before we did it, and it was well worth the wait, honestly. So, I just think that we as men we don't. That woman that we, for the most part, I believe, and I say this because these are conversations I've had with my boys, that woman that we could get too quick is not, in our opinions, wifey material for us.
Yeah, I agree with Jerome on that. Because he had to give us more than just something physical. That's going to get us a little bit, you get a little bit of our attention, but you have to give me something else to keep me around. So you have to stimulate me in other ways. Conversations, the way you think, you have to see different aspects of it to be like, okay, this is potentially for a long-term relationship.
Okay, so before you guys say anything else juicy, all right, we got to get these likes up, you guys. We got a lot of people hanging out here, sitting in the living room, sitting on our couches, drinking up our Kool-Aid, and not paying rent. So go ahead and pay with that social currency. Smash that like button, and I'm going to take it as a compliment because that means you guys are like this in amazement. So I just, gentle reminder to go ahead and click that. Thank you so much. Go ahead and click those likes, and we're just gonna hang out here until we get them to come up. We're getting closer. All right, guys. Ladies, feel free to just give your strike a pose. Let them see what you're working with. We gotta get these. I gotta get some hold music for these likes to get up. At least I'm a little nicer than Kevin Samuels. I'm not cussing at you, right? All right, we're still waiting. There's some stubborn people in here. All right, guys. See, I'm too easy. They'll click it, but seriously, they'll click it. Let YouTube know this is the type of content that you want to see. All right, so are you guys unanimously deciding or agreeing with what Jerome was saying as far as if you? Sorry, I'm gonna go back to what he originally said. That if she lets you hit it right away, it takes something out of your mind as far as seeing long term. Because I've heard guys say the other, like, no, we could have hit on the first night and married you.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the one thing I've been thinking about is what I call the dopamine thing.
It cut you out. You call it the what?
Dopamine, right? It's so like when you go to a casino and, you're playing and you might hit a jackpot and you want to keep going. So I think what that boils back to is if you are able to achieve said goal on the first night, then your dopamine, especially if it's good, then your dopamine kicks in and we're like, oh, yes, I love you. You're my goddess. You're my princess. But then over time, if you cannot maintain that same dopamine chemical mix going on in our bodies, then, yeah, we're going to die out a little bit. So it is best to wait as long as you possibly can. But, you also got to bring something else to the table.
Yeah, it's about interest.
But what if you wait and the sex is trash?
Get rid of them.
There is. Anything else that don't work.
Cut your losses. Cut your losses.
I hate to be so
I hope
fast,
you kept the
but
receipt.
Like, what do you do? Like,
I hope you have a receipt, girl. Get your money back. Get your money back.
If you're in that deep, you make her what it is that you would like her to be. That's what you do.
If you're where? If you're in that deep, Joe?
I agree.
Sorry.
If you're in that deep and it's whack on the first couple, you need to have a conversation. This is what I like. This is how we're going to do. You show some videos. Whatever you need to do. If y'all have that connection and it's whack, here's the thing, right? Intimacy, sex is at most 15 to 20% of any relationship, marriage, no matter what it is. However, when it's whack, it feels like it's 90% of that relationship. But if we are having a conversation and we working on this, we're good. There ain't there's no such thing that is whack and let me walk away. We gonna work on this show.
so that's great.
Hey!
And that's the thing about sex is when you make it what, that's what takes the fun out of it. It's when you expect it to be one certain way It's just about exploring what your partner likes to do.
Well, intimacy and sex is different. And I think we're talking more so much about intimacy, not sex.
Yeah.
But if the question was, if you waited, if your whole as a woman come out and then you guys have sex, it's not just sex.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Now you've reached into intimacy. Yeah.
Right.
You're reaching into intimacy.
There's been a mental and emotional connection.
Well, it's an intangible thing that you probably can't replicate, or it would take longer to replicate in someone else. And the discovery of it would be more exhausting than actually, it's like the bird in hand is better than two in the bush philosophy. You know?
Yeah.
I'd rather work with what's in my hand versus, the risk of, trial and error, because trial and error costs more than just emotional. It's financial. It's broad. Talk about that risk.
That is a perfect segue too, because there's a lot at stake. We were discussing, and I know I addressed that towards the guys, but ladies, feel free to chime in. But the guy and I were addressing, we'll just call him Bob for the sake of this argument. So Bob was saying that the guy, he's investing financially, and he doesn't know if he's going to clap them cheeks, as the kids say. And I was saying with a woman, if she, because some women are, what do they call it, sex positive, and there's no negative side to it. But for some women who really have an emotional value to it, for them, if they have sex and the guy bounces, as in that's all he wanted, he got what he wanted, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, here's the $40, she's going to feel away. So that's what brought this dilemma about, which I'm trying to figure out, where's that balance? And I feel like traditionally, Jason Leppin, men didn't have a choice. Like, back in the day, we're going to go way back, they were not expected to have sex. Like, it was not what the good girls did. You prayed and dreamed and wished, but that's not what you did. You had to marry that chick before you got it. And I feel that now that the lines are really getting blurred and gender roles are all mushed together, it's difficult for somebody who has a philosophy of, I want it to be special when I have sex. I want to actually make love with somebody. I don't want to have just this wild passion, have an orgasm, and then, what was your name again? Like, that's not fun for a lot of women. They want to look into his eyes and know that they're secure. And even physically, not to go on a tangent, but it's been physically proven that a woman is more able to orgasm if she feels emotionally safe. So, there's a component to it. Even if she's trying to shut that off, she will climax harder if she's, taken there mentally. So, let me get at some of these.
And to that point, I do agree with you, Yonci. Like, I've had a I don't know what to call it now anymore, a situationship.
Yeah.
With someone that does not want a long distance relationship, but we were sexual with one another, and he would ask why I wouldn't do certain things, and I'm like, dude, like, do it for what? Like, why am I working? If you know you're not going to get a promotion, what are you going to be doing all this extra work for? You're just going to do the job, right? And leave. So I'm not going to.
She said, why am I going to do a job if I'm not going to?
You don't want a long distance relationship. I'm just going to take it for what it is and find something else to replace that once I'm done with you. You know, like, you're not going to audition for something that you know that it's impossible that you're going to make the role for.
Chastity brought up a good point. She said, sex be clouding people's judgment. And I could not agree more. And I will say this. So there's a show called Too Hot to Handle. And for research purposes, I was binge watching it, of course. And the premise of the show is that they have these super sexually charged people who are at the height of their physical, what do you call it? Their physique is just impeccable. And they come to this little resort. They think they're about to just get it in with all these other hotties. And then they let them know, hey, you're going to get a big wad of cash if you can keep your mitts off of other people. You can't even self-gratify. And the goal is to get people to connect emotionally. And for me, what's so sad is this is like a wild concept to these people who are in their 20s. Like, it's like mind-blowing. Like, whoa. it's as though they're like animals that just have to hump the first encounter, and then that's all that is there. And so it just makes me wonder from a guy's perspective, like, I don't want to look at men like they're animalistic. You know, it's like, do you guys value that emotional intimacy as well? Because, you know, if you talk about abstinence to some people, they will look at you like you're suggesting, I don't know, committing murder. Like, it's just crazy.
Well, I'm gonna chime in, okay? And it's just the way that we're wired. We're wired differently. We're men. We have testosterone shooting through us. You know, we don't have estrogen. So emotionally, it takes a while to get there. But innately, biologically, it's just we were told to be fruitful and multiply. That's the way the big guy up there wired it. And so we have different needs. Let me put it like that. The thing is the golf that it takes in order for you to get to your comfort level and for us to get to a place to where we could commit. And see, that's the problem right there. It's a duration of time for us to commit because we're not emotionally invested in it because, you know, that's just not the way we're wired.
I'm sorry, but that quote was that was actually pretty deep. You said it takes time for us to commit because we're not
Correct.
Emotionally invested. And I had always looked at it like a cold feed or a guy trying to be a player. But from what you're saying is, like with women, we cling on when we feel emotionally attached. We don't just like
Absolutely.
wake up and like the guy. But what you're saying is that process isn't even happening. So it's not like you're out there like, nah, I want to keep my options open. You just literally take longer to feel it. The same way we take longer to want to give it up, but you're not
Correct.
accusing us of being manipulative. This is deep, y'all. See, this is...
But can I ask a question? And it's only because I think like when a woman is really feeling a man, like they solely put that interest into that one man. But I know a lot of guys that are still dating multiple people, and it's not like you're putting all your eggs in one basket, but is that why that emotional connection isn't present? Because you have other people that you are interested in, maybe just not as much as one.
You're saying chicken or the egg.
Present. I don't think it's not present because the right one will provoke it out of us immediately.
Devance, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Devance. Your mic is coming in really hot. I don't know if you're using a separate mic, but you might have to just back off just a little bit because it's getting that muffles. You know when people have speakers and they can't handle the sound system? That's what it sounds like. Sorry. It's probably...
It's different for...
But don't lose your thought. What'd you say?
It's different for men. So just like he was saying, it takes a while for us. Physically, it didn't take that long for us to. That's just how we're wired. But if you're really trying to go all aspects of that man, it's going to take a while for him to feel comfortable with you to share certain things. Hey, can I share this with her? And she won't look down on me. Can I totally really let her know how I am deep down? And will she look at me the same as a man, or will she look at me a different way where she doesn't look at me as manly anymore? So it takes a while for us to feel comfortable to show that side to us to a woman. Every woman doesn't deserve that from us because some women don't know how to handle that and cultivate that and know like, hey, he's being vulnerable with me. Let me not throw this in his face. Let me make him still feel like, hey, I'm glad you shared this with me. Let me let him know that that's okay. So we can't share that with everybody because that's one of men's deepest fears, that if I share this with you, deep down how I am, and you shun me away, that's a deep hurt deep inside of us that takes a long time to recover from.
Can I say
my interest in women? Okay, go ahead.
And I'm sorry, because Devance was answering Jen's question. I didn't want to lose his thought because I'm the one who interrupted him. But he was answering Jen's question about chicken or the egg. Is he not interested yet because he's dating so many people, if I'm asking your question correctly, Jen? Or is he dating so many people because he's not interested yet? Like, could that possibly be?
No, that wasn't it. That's not it.
Okay.
That's not it.
Ignore it.
Okay, Jen, you can...
My question is, are men able to not emotionally attach to a woman because they're dating or seeing multiple women? Or in communication with multiple women?
No, that's not the reason. No, for men, it's not about the first one or the last one, but the right one. And when they find the right one, they will commit very quickly because they have everything that they're missing. They have the nurturing, they have the spiritualism, they have intangibles that they couldn't find anywhere else. So it's that one. I know so many people that said, you know what, they dated all of these. Well, Steve Harvey even said that. He said when he chased after her, he knew that the rest of them that he had waiting, if they left, it was no big deal. He'll just get another one. But we're all wired that way. That when we see that worth in her that we couldn't get with the other ones, because that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for an intangible worth in her that is what we're missing. And what men generally is missing is safe spaces, nurturing, and encouragement, really. And she can be beautiful, but you really don't have to really even be that beautiful. If we can get those things that are priceless to us, because they add value that is on a whole nother level in regards to worth to us.
There would be something that would be missed out of your life if you two weren't in contact with each other anymore.
Well, women have these things innately. I think that in our generation, it's just not activated. It's dormant. And it's like they'll get it if it's a win-win situation for them, or if it's at a point to where, again, like if we take care of their needs, they'll take care of our needs. It's just that it's conditional. It's not like it's already them. That's the problem. And that's the conflict. That it's on a conditional basis, and we're trying to add value in the process of competing in the world, which we're developing these things to be the best people that we are because society forces us to do that, to grow into these men that are competent, capable to produce results. Or, the other way, if those pressures aren't for you, then, you'll subside to it. But generally that is the case. I think that's the problem. It's not that we're not emotional. It's just dormant. But when we find the right one, it's activated.
Jerome, did you want to?
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say because Jerome, we're just making sure he got his point because that was the ricochet effect. And then Jason jumped in.
In a little bit of a difference, I will say, and Yonci, you saw this in a post that you made a while ago where you asked married men, when did you know that this woman was the one for you? And almost every man said almost immediately.
Yep.
Almost every single one, right? So,
like the one who came for Jen.
We have to be brothers. We got to be real about it. When we find the one, we know it from second one, right? There's no debating. We know who we're gonna put in the friend zone, who is just gonna be the one we might just smash, who is wifey material. We know it, and we know it from minute one. That's just the way.
At what point do you share that with the woman? Like, do you still go through the hoops and ladders, or do
it's
you?
In here, we're not gonna reveal it right away. But
See, and that's the thing. Like,
why should I?
I'll into it.
Why should?
So, what are y'all doing to reveal that?
What we're doing is we're investing. So when we talked about investing, right? Mm-hmm. More than anything, my time is just as valuable as my money.
Correct.
So when I'm investing time, when I'm calling you, when I'm texting you, when I'm sending flowers, or we're going on dates, that's what we're going to do. That shows, and and that looks many different ways, but spending that time, I mean, how many of us as men, busy in our jobs, would say, I'm too busy to date, but when the right one comes home, we find the time to make sure we see that one.
Yeah, we make it and take it.
And I'm going to keep it real. And Yonci, I know you know this. I dated my wife. She was here in New York. I was in North Carolina. And I flew up every weekend.
Every weekend.
There was not, for 5 years, I was in New York to be by the side of my wife. And if she ever called me during the week, there was a get here card that she had. I need you to get here. If she needed me to get here on a Thursday, I'm going to get here on a Thursday.
I've always said that
So
we should
if you want what you want, right? You're going to see that in that woman. You will, and it's going to be obvious to you as a woman that I'm not wasting your time, right? That you will see, you're going to know this cat wants something more. And my wife knew that point blank. This cat is up here every weekend. He wants something more.
He gonna be in your face. He's gonna make it clear.
There are guys, just playing devil's advocate, there are guys that do that just to get between the legs. There are guys that do that too. There's guys that'll sell you a drink.
The love bombing.
There are guys that'll do that too. I'm just saying. So to piggyback off of what you said that
especially if they're resourceful and have endless resources of money that they can swoon you a little bit more because they're able to hop on those flights and don't shake your head, Jason. It happened to me.
right.
That's a lot of wasting time.
That's wasting time.
Yes.
The thing is, and it goes back to what we were talking about, like the bad guy versus the good guy, right? You know, first of all, women, you all have a lot of influence over us, whether you know it or not, okay? Anytime we're stopping, just like Jerome said, anytime we're stopping to do something, if we're taking a flight to come see you, no, we might come and we might play it cool, because that's what we're going to do, because we don't want you to think, oh, he's the good guy. We're going to play it cool as a bad guy, if you will, in order to gain your interests. That's just naturally what we're going to do, right? And so, to me, when I think about the topic of the show and the conversation, it's like, who invests more? And a lot of people say that men don't invest emotionally. Well, technically, we do invest. We do invest emotionally. It's not the emotion probably that you want to see or that you're thinking of, but we invest emotionally. But it goes back to what Vance was saying, like, how are we hardwired, right? So I like to put this and preface this in a way of eating a well-cooked meal, right? If a guy sits down, he's just going to scarf it. He's going to say, oh, that was good. He might not say that at all. He's like, and you see a clean plate, and you know that was a good meal. Where women will sit down and they will eat piece by piece. They're absorbing.
We're talking about, this so good.
Meal. Right. And they're like, they want to talk about it. It's a difference in the way we deal with things. But going back to you, Jen, of what you're saying, about the bouncing around, guys are very analytical, right? So, yeah, we can date 5 women, and then we start, knocking them out. Okay, this one didn't cook well. This one never kept herself up. This one, well, hold on, let me hold on to this one. You know what I'm saying? And we just literally start a process of shrinking it down to the one, right? But the problem is we're expending now. Let's go to the money side. Now we're spending money and emotions on these 5 women, and we're.
But is it really emotions when you have 5 different women?
Right.
Yes.
Right. Because here's the thing, because I can tell you, I dated a guy who was like, you're the one I want to get married to. And at the time, I was going through a divorce. So I was like, ooh, marriage. Ooh, no, PTSD, I'm running away, right? I'm not ready for this.
Right.
Right? Like, my divorce was finalized while he and I were together, right? And so he's like, well, your divorce is finalized in October. Let's get married in February. And I'm like,
that's quick.
Yeah, that's very quick.
That's quick.
Pretty quick.
I'm telling him, let's just take time and see where it goes. I will tell you this. This man broke up with me on a Monday and had a wedding up the street from my job on a Friday night.
Oh, he wanted to get married.
Yes.
Yeah, he did want to get married. Yeah.
He just wanted to
not
get married.
To you.
No, he wanted to get married. He just needed a bride. So when she said no, he was like, next.
But again, it was just a rebound.
So okay, wait, no. She was not the rebound. She was going through a divorce.
I'm sorry.
She was going through a divorce. She was not the rebound. She was in a relationship with him. Right. She was not ready to get married. He ended up marrying somebody else. So then, Jerome said that when we can see her and we didn't know she was the one. He seen her and said she was the one. Clearly, she wasn't.
But no, Monica, it's not for lack of desire, it sounds like, because he sounds like what most women are. They already have the wedding dress and the ring. They're just waiting for the groom. So it's like, oh, you'll do. And then, no, okay, you'll do. I think he just really wanted to get married based on what the snippet that she was saying.
I think he really wanted to get married. But then after like 6 months, he came back. 6 months after he got married, he came back and was like, I married the wrong woman. And I was like, well, you're going to sit with that.
That's my point. That's my point.
His urgency was to get married, not to get married to the right one.
That's my point.
That was his urgency for whatever reason. It wasn't about marrying you. It was about getting married. And we all know, because we could talk about that from a woman's point of view, because there are women that it's all about just getting married, where it's not about getting married to me specifically, for example. So that's what it sounds like it was.
You're getting married for the wrong reasons. It goes back to intent, you know?
Yes.
And time, people's words will tell you their intent. So, you know, that's, again, like I said, the evaluation of time and you giving it to him and then him saying no, which was a prerequisite for you in order for you to say, hey, listen, this is just irrational. And that's the state that he was in. And you kind of discern that based upon the exchange, you know, with the timeline. And that's what that determined. And so those indicators like that you should take those and be like, well, you know what? This is just a scrimmage and evaluation. This is not nothing serious.
Just Tumbleman says he needed a green card. I was trying to read that.
Yeah.
Is he an immigrant or?
No, he had a full-on government job. Like I didn't
yeah, that was just.
It
sounded like he was just trying to check a box.
That's it. Bucket list type of thing.
No, he was told by a relative to get this inheritance. You need to be married.
Oh my God!
Listen, don't laugh. Do not laugh. And I'm in financial services.
Yeah.
It's in people's trust that for their child to get money, they need to be married by a certain
that's
age.
true.
Please don't laugh at this. This
that's
really
true.
does happen. So
that's
let me clear that up.
Wow. If you guys are just now tuning in, I'm going to keep harping on this, but please hit that like button. Somebody in the comments was nice enough to let you guys know that if you're on a mobile device, you will have to close out of the chat to get to the like button and then get back in the chat. Love the engagement, you guys. I'm sorry I haven't been able to read all the comments because we've just been going, but 10 more people just joined in. So if you're tuning in, just hit that. It just lets YouTube know this is good quality stuff, you guys. There's not a lot of super great heart-to-heart conversations that I see out there. There's a lot of gender bashing. Men suck, women suck. So let's support, you know, this platform if you're into it. So that's what I have to say about that. Shout out to Raymond who just joined in. Good friend of mine. So this is so interesting. How long would you guys say? Actually, no, I'm going to go back a little bit. One of the things that really stood out to me just in the conversation here and also just paying attention in life. So often there are women who are like, oh, I don't know if he's into me. I don't know this. I don't know that. And girlfriends will call me or whatever. To me, I feel if a guy likes you, it is going to be clear. This is not 8th grade. This is not going to be like fill in the blank. Whenever I've had guys who are very serious, they're like, looky here. Like, there's always a looky here type of conversation. Like, I ain't trying to be your little friend. It's always little. I ain't trying to be your little friend.
Like you're under a microscope. Like, they want to know everything.
Yes, you know? Yes. They're making sure that you're the last one they talk to. One guy said it the cutest way. He said, I'm going to take up so much of your time. Ain't no other Negro going to have time to slip in. And it's true. He got you keying on the phone at night. He the first call in the morning or he texts you, whatever. He's taking you out every weekend. I feel like this is a, thank you, Ms. Lewis. I feel like this is a huge sign for women to pay attention to. If at the beginning when things are supposed to be smoking hot, that's just how life is because you cannot maintain that high. If at the beginning when it's supposed to be smoking hot, you're freaking questioning whether or not you have his attention, that's a huge red flag. Yeah.
He's just not that into you.
He's just not that into you.
Here's the thing. My wife told me she is not going to have another long distance relationship. So I said, bet. I'm going to make sure it don't feel like it.
Oh, that's so cute. But see, men will do that when they're into it.
And that's and we may not and I know you ladies ask, well, how do we know? Why don't you say that? Our actions show it. It does. And Monica, I get it that you had one that was showing all the things, and then
I didn't say it was me.
Oh, I'm sorry, sis. My bad. But I swore I heard you say it. I know
she said, let's be clear.
Okay. So
I didn't say it was me.
She said there are some men. There are some men.
I mean,
no, you need to work.
And I know the players, right? Some of my boys, they're the players. I know how they flow, and I see how they get down. But I'm telling you, that man that's into you, he will show it. The player, he's not going to show it because there's something that he's getting elsewhere that he doesn't need to put in the work over here.
Jerome.
But I think he will show it, Jerome, because he'll show disinterest. He'll show
he's the bad guy that they chase after, bro. Trust me.
Well, again.
Wait, we don't chase Jerome. We're not chasing.
Who's chasing the bad guys?
Because you're not.
Okay, Maisha brought up a really good point, and I want to hear the guys' take on this. Maisha says, but on the flip side, if he's all over you and taking up all your time, it could be a red flag too. I was going to disagree, except for the fact that there are some love bombers, and there's a lot of similarity between a guy who's genuinely into you and a guy who's love bombing you. So what do you guys have to say about that? Discerning between a love bomber and a good guy who's just really in his feelings.
Well, I have to say, I don't like that comment in his feelings, because when women say that about men, then on the flip side, when he's not showing his feelings, then y'all say to your girls, he doesn't show his feelings.
I'm saying it in a positive way.
I despise that comment personally. I do.
I've had a feeling that were very affectionate and very took up a lot of time, and I have never complained about it.
I'm sensitive, but yet I'm as gangster as you want to see.
I love a man who's very in tune with how he feels and can vocalize.
I think.
Can I see some bodies and hands right now? I'm sorry.
What did he say?
Sensitive as could be, but yet,
but equally
you're dealing with a man.
And equally as strong. But like a man who can tell me, like, yo, when you said this and that and the other on Wednesday, like, you hurt my feelings, I'd be like, dang, for real? I'm sorry.
Yes. Or if they could say, this bothered me because.
I'm not always right.
You have to know that women are saying to men when they make those comments, you in your feelings, bro. They're all women that are saying
No. But you're looping us all together just because we have a vagina. You're looping all of us women like women
sister,
say.
I said they're all women. I didn't say you.
You said
Monica,
women.
they're all women. They're all women that do stay to men.
Right.
You in your feelings, bro.
I agree.
There's a lot of men that tell women that they're in their feelings or we're unstable creatures and all kind of stuff like that. And it's all viewed negative and condescending in that manner.
Because of how I said it. This is on me.
Conversations about how we feel as women and how we feel as men without there being judgment on both sides. It's always going to be you over there being uber soft. I can't deal with it right now because now I got extra manly going on. And I got stuff I have to handle. So there has to be some type of balance. But until we as a people can come together and say, listen, I really am sensitive today and I really need a moment or be able to verbalize that without somebody feeling like, oh, maybe she's real soft or maybe she ain't a real whatever. Until we can remove those stigmas, it's going to always be you extra emotional. She's an unstable creature. Oh, it must be that time. It's always going to be something. Instead of somebody saying, you know what, I said something, I did something that may have triggered you. I apologize.
And I'm going to wave the white flag because I started this. I'm waving the white flag because I started this initially. I know exactly what Jerome is talking about because I used a negative phrase in a positive way and I was trying to be tongue in cheek. So Jerome, you're not crazy. From me to you, you're not crazy. I was saying a love bomber can look like a man in his feelings, but I meant in a cute way, like, oh, he's in his feelings. But I do agree that most time when it's used in a condescending, derogatory way. Get out your feelings, you and your little feelings, and it's like that. So just,
that just sounds like two unhealed people. When people are healed in a relationship, everything should be fine. He's human.
Yeah, but they wouldn't call it in your feelings. You would say, oh, you're hurt.
Mentally, like,
I think it's two things, okay? And I know I just misspelled vulnerable in the chat. But the one question I have is, when is it appropriate for a man to show his vulnerability?
On Tuesdays.
Right? That's number one.
On Tuesdays?
From 4 to 6. From 4 to 6 p.m., like, and then shut it off.
After I've had a meal, go ahead and show me.
When you're on top of me, just.
I think it depends on your demographic. Like, I think the Vans can relate to with me on this one. We both live in Atlanta, okay? And so when I'm dating, when you're dating in Atlanta, the first 3 dates, she's trying to figure out, okay, if he's in his feelings, is he gay? Is this, like, literally, that is the judgment we get here in Atlanta. You can't do certain things without being perceived a certain way, right?
I'm guilty.
And so
I'm guilty.
It's like, what can you do, right? And so
New Yorkers are roughnecks. I get it.
I know the answer, Jason. It's very easy. If you seem like your emotions are controlling you, that's, to me, what turns me off. I was going to speak for all women, but I'm going to speak for myself. If you have emotions and you have access to them, great. But if they are controlling you, like before I got my emotions under control, I compared it to an ocean, and I was like in a life raft just tossed around. When I see a man experience the emotion and the emotions are taking over him, I no longer feel safe. I don't feel secure, and you're taking me out of my feminine house. If you experience an emotion, but you're able to deal with it, that's different. My ex-husband, perfect example, father passed away very unexpectedly, freak, infection after a surgery, whatever. No one was prepared for it. He gave himself a moment to just drop to his knees and cry because it just was a shock. And then he compartmentalized and was like, I have to go to work. I can't afford to take off just weeks just sitting around the house crying. So to me,
but that's a catch-22. That's a catch-22.
How?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Women from childbirth, you all are taught to embrace your emotions. Mm-hmm. Okay. If a little girl falls, she cries. Everybody's like, "Oh, you okay? What's going on?" Like, everybody embrace that emotion. So you're taught to embrace your emotions. As men, if we fall, it's like, get up, boy. You know what I mean?
You ain't dead.
Shove it off.
Did you die?
So as we get older and we become our own men, we don't know how to deal with these additional
It's an imbalance.
because we were never able to deal with the first emotion.
It was an imbalance.
But I think
you know what? But to go back to
deal with,
don't lose that, Jason.
I have to deal with how you were raised. I think how we are as adults, how we operate in relationships, how we operate in society. A lot of it stems from the relationships we've seen growing up in our household.
It's the first hood. It's the first hood that affects all of us. And we bring that total experience into these other relationships and these other people's lives. And then just basically tell them that they have to deal with it when you've imposed pressures on them that they don't have the capacities to deal with, which is unfair. So it's like I have to get myself healthy and whole and deliver that healthy, whole person to another healthy, whole person. But if I haven't done that work yet, and then when conflict comes, and then the big guy up top said, I'm the problem, not them, it's always starting with us because only one person's response needs to be different than the other because another person has to argue with you. And if you're not arguing back with them, there is no defense for it. So I always start with those experiences that you experienced in my childhood that grew me up to this adulthood. And I ask myself, am I adding or taking away? Am I helping or hindering? And if I can answer these questions to where I could say, well, is it adding value to them or am I making it more toxic, the relationship? Is it more of a benefit for me to be there or not? And if I have too many of those negatives, then I have to say I have to improve. I want to improve.
I want to go back to what Jason. Oh, go ahead, Allie, and I'll go after that.
I was gonna say, I also think there's a lot of what you said is true, Samantha, but I think as we move from being kids to moving into our own adulthood, we have to accept that there's some level of normalized
abuse.
There's a level of normalized dysfunction is what I think. And at some point, you have to accept the fact that just because it's normal to you doesn't make it normal to everybody else.
Absolutely, and that's why therapy is therapy. So that way, once awareness comes, then there can be application, then there can be understanding, then there can be tolerance, and then you can even have your safe space, and I can be aware of it. No different than with us as well, right? Because it's dormant, or it's we've neglected it for so long. We grew up in this right here, and then just starved this other thing to death.
But
so
that also goes to when a man finds that woman, like, oh, that's who I want to be with. Like, I've met a man, he's like, we're getting married, this and the other, and I'm like, you have certain levels of dysfunction that I'm not okay with. Like, we're gonna have to work through this before I can be like, this is my forever.
Well, he gonna have to work through it because
but no, when he makes that, it becomes a we. When he's like, this is what I want, and I'm like, okay, it becomes a we because I have to learn how to deal with him.
No. Not so much as I don't think so, because this is the reason why I say that.
Have you been married before?
Yeah. Yes.
So you don't feel like in your marriage there was any kind of compromise in who you had to become in order to deal with the person that you were married to?
Well, this is the thing about it. Yes, you're going to become, but I'm talking about personal development. That's not your responsibility, for you to help, because you don't know what he needs. All you know is what you know, because he spent 35 years of that person. You only known him for 4, 3, 2, 1. There's no way possible that you can know. That's why it's difficult for, I say it's wrong for other people to project their issues on other people, because those hurt, wounds, and bruises, they didn't cause. They're affected by it. So it goes back to that saying where hurt people hurt people. So yes, becoming who you are, but the best thing for you to do to a wounded person is to love them, right? But love them the way that God told us to love them, right? Knowing that we're perfectly imperfect, knowing that we're the functioning dysfunctional, asking them to get therapy and getting some things to help them cope with who they are.
Hurt people, but heal people.
Yes, and I want to get back to.
So I know. Going into my marriage, my wife is hurt, right? So there is a certain way that me as a man, that I could wrap my arms around her, and I could make sure that the hurt that she had is not going to seep into this relationship, and that I am not going to repeat the mistake of the last man to hurt her. So in a respectful way, brother, I'm going to disagree with you. It is both. No, you said that is not her responsibility. It is her responsibility. If she wants to
nothing but to love them. It's not
this man. She's gonna go along for the ride. She's gonna be right there with that man to make sure that we heal. Because his trauma is, let's believe, I had trauma. I needed to deal with from my past.
There's been an old saying that we all know.
Wait, you guys, wait.
If you're not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem. So if you know someone has an issue and you don't help work them through it, or and you care about that person, then you might as well be throwing them down the tubes, of emotions themselves. You have to be able to help.
None of us
Hold on, size.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's fine. Devin, could you turn down your speak to them like a lot of it?
It's the microphones. For some reason, so the microphone, if it's too close, it reverberates too loud, and then everyone else's audio is like much lower. So if you could either back off the mic, or if you have the ability to turn it down, because it's.
How about that?
We want to hear what you're saying.
How about that?
No more.
Do it a little bit more, a little bit low.
Where is your microphone? Where is your microphone? Is it in your computer?
Yes.
That is. I've never heard a mic that powerful. I don't even know how to turn down a mic within a and it doesn't have a dial on it.
Oh.
You have to
It's a value. No, it's a value setting.
Go click where it says mute and then click the audio settings.
Yeah.
And then in there you'll see where up under speaker it'll say microphone and just move that dial if you can. Take it off and automatically adjust.
Oh.
You can move the dial yourself.
Oh, that is amazing. Thank you so much. I did not know how to, and I'm going to do it on mine too because it says automatically adjust. Because when I listen back to mine, oh my God, my microphone always sounds so much louder than you guys, and it makes me cringe when I listen back.
And now we can barely hear you.
So stop playing with your mic and other
Undo.
Thank you guys for your patience and watching. I'm an audio person, so I was going nuts trying to figure this out. Try saying something again, Devance.
Like, is his speaker fixed? Like, Devance, could you
Go
talk?
ahead, Devance.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
It's
so
still
turn
a
it down a
little
little bit more.
scratchy, but
Yeah, it's still a little bit loud.
A little bit more, okay.
Yeah, it's what it is it's too hot. If you know
I'm halfway. I'm halfway now.
Okay, keep going down a little bit more.
Yeah,
Like, I say, just log out.
Let's mute it and we'll
I
hear
have
you.
my volume all the way down.
Jerome's actually sounds perfect. Yours is all the way down and it sounds that loud, Jerome?
My volume is down.
Oh, okay.
No, remember, I got my professional mic. You know what I do. So.
I'm not great. I have to give you one of them.
No, I'm about this life, so.
Devance, try to say something again.
I'm coming to it real.
Devance like, I ain't saying crap. No, I was trying to be cool, but like when I would listen to him, I'd have to turn my volume all the way down, and then when everyone else would speak, I couldn't hear, and I was having to turn, and I just didn't want the listeners having to do the same thing.
I do like where the ladies are saying we, just staying on topic because, you know, we are looking for that safe space. So you do have to allow them into your world somewhat. As I have always told any woman I've dated, I said, I will fight any demon out there with you, but I cannot fight you. That's a difference.
Oof.
You know, I will help you fight anything else. I can't fight you.
Right.
And at that point in time, all you can do is just love on a person, like Jerome said. You just get to love them.
And
I wanted to get back to something
The
Monica
person
said.
ultimately has to do the work themselves. Like, you can help them through it, but
Yes.
that person has to do the work on themselves. Because if you do not take care of your problem, if you don't deal with your problem, your problem's gonna
Gotta realize
It's like an alcoholic.
That's step one of any
Correct.
program.
It's so weird getting into a relationship and you're not healed. Like, what were you expecting? Like,
Correct.
You want it because
but
a lot of times
you expect me to heal you and make you happy. Like, girl,
but sometimes you don't know. I don't think you know sometimes.
properties and other
that's
people.
why
Yeah,
therapy is
therapy.
necessary
That's
before
therapy.
you get into a relationship. I feel that's just me. I don't
No,
know.
and that's a valid.
Yeah, you have to go to therapy.
Say
A
that
lot
again,
of people
Sai.
are
I didn't
walking
hear what you
around with a certain level of normalized dysfunction, and they don't realize it is dysfunctional until they meet somebody else, and they be like, "Whoa, you talk to your mama like that? Hold on, mama."
Correct.
I didn't
It's
know
the
I
mirror.
had. I didn't know I needed
It's-
therapy. I didn't know that I thought that my abandonment issues led me to be hypersensitive, and I truly thought it was just the men being insensitive. And then after healing happened and just spiritual growth, I didn't specifically go after that, and I started changing, and then I started dating someone who was like the old me. I went, whoa! I had
attracting
major
who you
healing.
are.
Yeah, but I didn't at the time. I would say no, there's nothing wrong with me. So I don't think a lot of
Yeah,
people.
it's always reflective.
But then I think you also have to be very careful and kind of conscientious of what somebody's telling you, right? Because when I've dated, a lot of women say, well, you're very passive aggressive. And that stuck in my mind for a while. Like, dad, I'm passive aggressive. Like, how can I man this thing up, if you will.
Right.
But then I started to go down the rabbit hole of why am I passive aggressive? And it really pointed to a larger picture. You will find that most minority males are passive aggressive for very simplistic reasons. One, we're not heard when we speak to people. Two, we don't want to lose our jobs, which is the financial part of that stability you were talking about, right? Yeah. And then 3, we don't want to get shot by a cop. You know, like, we don't want to die. Because I used to not be very passive aggressive. I had a temper. I was off the chain. But, as I, had my son and I matured and I started to look at things holistically, as the father would look at it, and I came in with a calmer me, then I was able to give better resolution. I was better to propel my career up to the way I wanted it to go. And then the concern is sometimes you don't understand when you're telling somebody, well, I don't want you to be passive aggressive. You could be setting them up for destruction. You could be setting them up for self-sabotage.
Why is that?
I'm sorry?
Why is that?
You said why?
Why is that if they're not being passive aggressive anymore?
Well, because they're trying to accommodate you. If you tell a guy, hey, I don't like that shirt, 9 times out of 10, you will probably never see that shirt again, right? Because that's the influence of woman over man, right? You all have a lot of influence over us, and it might make it seem like we're stupid puppets, but we're not, because that's just kind of how we are inherently, right? So you have to be careful what you speak into somebody. Just like women say, hey, it's not how you say it, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? So I think on both spectrums, you have to be careful on what you speak into somebody. You have to tell somebody you're great. You have to tell somebody you're beautiful. You have to tell somebody this, right? And then it's kind of up to you what you do with that information. I've had where women said, I don't like it when man texts me good morning, beautiful, because I feel like he's texting, 500 other women the same thing. And it's like, I mean, he could be, but if he texts his mama good morning, beautiful, to him, is his mama not beautiful? You know what I mean? What's wrong with him doing something like that?
Well, it's his way of loving. It's his love language. Right?
Well, here's the thing, though. I'm one of those women that don't put. I've had guys text me "Good morning, beautiful," and my response would be like, "Good morning, please take me out to a rotation." I know for a fact. I can tell there's a difference when somebody texts me "Good morning, beautiful," and I'm like, "Oh, good morning." The next thing will be, "How's your day?" or "What are you doing?" This, that, and the other. If it's just "Good morning, beautiful," and I respond, and you don't respond, take me out of that rotation. I don't want to be one of 30 or 40 people, or 10 even, that you're texting every morning. Like, I want that unique feeling that it's just me. You know, I'm texting morning beautiful. You text me when it's my turn. Like, I'm gonna give 5 to 10 minutes of text response. But don't text.
Horrible assumption. Oh my God, that's a horrible assumption.
So you're saying because
multiple, so you're not texting multiple guys. You're not other guys are entertaining. You're not entertaining other guys.
The way my phone is glued to me, if I was entertaining multiple guys, they would never know. Like,
right. So then a guy.
That's not the question.
But then a guy texts you "Good morning, beautiful." He woke up and he wanted to reach out to you, and you
thought about it.
Taking out of rotations. But then you have another guy telling you "Good morning."
No, it ain't even. I'm just saying, when you text me. And I text and I respond back. Now I have to wait 5, 10, 15 minutes. Like, if you text me, you're going to get a response back that second. But if I'm waiting 5 to 10 minutes, text me when you got a moment to talk to me.
Well, what if he text you before you got in the shower?
Right.
You want to take a 2-minute shower? You don't stink.
Right.
No, but I get.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know. I mean, he could have been on his mental checklist. Like, hey, I'm thinking of her. Let me text her good morning.
Or he probably said, "Hey, Siri, text. I don't know your name.
Allie.
Tell her good morning, beautiful."
And then Siri's gonna say, "Allie responded. Hey, good morning. How are you doing?"
Now I will say.
Siri does that?
I didn't know she does that.
Yeah. Girl, it made me jump. It made me jump one time. I forgot I had my AirPods in, and it was like, Nathan just said hello. And I'm like, did he though? I was like, what? Okay.
Serious?
Oh, she will let you know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She'll be like, new text message from Yonci.
Do you want?
Said, hey, girl.
Or she'll say, do you want me to keep reading? If it's really long, she'll be like, do you want me to keep reading? She'll be like, it's good, girl. It's good tea.
Right.
Ready to send it now?
Ready to send
No.
you now?
I'll wait then.
Yonci, you putting some sauce on it. Cut it out.
I wish I could do a Siri and be like, it's the one you like calling. You want to answer? How many times should it ring before I pick up?
People in her DMs after this show. She gonna have people in her DMs all after this show.
You guys, there's so many. Oh my God. Next week, well, not next week, it's the 4th of July. I doubt people are going to be on here. Well, actually, in the comments, let me know if you're trying to spend your 4th of July in here, because if you're not, I'm not, and I'm not going to do the show. But I swear to Bob, there needs to be a course on the art of conversation, because
Oh my gosh.
I cannot handle these grown men and how they talk. I need somebody to do a little skit with me, and this is just off the cuff. Okay, Allie, you just be the girl, okay? So be a little passive as far as like not taking the lead. I don't want you to take the lead. So just, can you role play with me real quick on the phone?
I'll role play with you.
I'm gonna be the dudes, all right? Ring, ring, ring.
All right. Hey, what you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Hey. Oh, nothing. What's up?
Nothing.
What are you doing?
First of all, you're too nosy already picking up the phone.
Dang!
Hey, what you doing? No.
I would like that. I would like that. Okay, so then
What you doing?
this is like first. This is like this is like getting to know someone initial stage, okay? So then you might say, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just relaxing. No, they won't even say what you just did. I'm just relaxing. And it'd be awkward.
Cool.
Yeah,
right.
so
then you're like, oh, okay.
yeah, so like what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just chilling with TV.
Wait, I have an actual phone. Word. So
That's terrible.
yeah,
That
that
is-
is literally.
These are the conversations.
And I have.
Okay, so when you have these conversations, do you continue to have these conversations with these
Yeah,
guys?
with these
'Cause
guys.
I don't understand why, if that is an issue, if they get another chance to have a
here's also the
conversation
thing.
with you.
Yeah, that's your fault. I'm gonna have to blame you for that one. If they get another.
So I'm gonna answer this. I'm gonna answer a real life story because I had to let a sweet little fella down today. I have gotten to this point where I am honest. I used to be this like to a default a people pleaser. I was so worried with other people. I would deal with people who drove me nuts just because I would think that it would be super awkward saying things. Now, if you pick up the phone and you have a crusty, dry conversation like that, I will get off the phone with you. And then the very next time you try to call me or text me, I will literally say, you know what? I did not feel a connection. What I have found is that men go crazy over that and they want to know why. So this dude, I said, you know what? I was really sweet. I should read it verbatim. I was really sweet. I said, hey, it was great getting to know you, but I just didn't feel a connection and I'm not about wasting people's time. So, enjoy your day. Thank you so much. Whatever. He writes back, call me. And I'm like, oh Lord, because I don't mind having a one-time opportunity, because if the person's asking, it could be a growing experience, because I learned a lot from my exes and people I've dated. So I'll give the person the benefit of the doubt. But I call them the clingers. If you're holding onto the edge of the ledge and I'm having to try to push your fingers off one by one, like, let go. Like, some people just don't let go. But anyway, I just told him, I told him a couple things. I said, first of all, I just didn't feel like there was anything, like there was no chemistry. I said, and it's just like physically liking someone. You see them and instantly you feel it or you don't. And I said, with me, there are people that I could stay on the phone for hours with. And then there are other people that you're just like, so, and it's that awkwardness. And I said, and the other thing is the profanity. Like, I don't know I know we're not nuns and people cuss, I cuss, but I don't use it casually in everyday conversation. Not like, I'm going to have an effing glass of water. I'm so effing tired. I'm like, if a guy does that, it's just a turn off to me, for me personally, because it's like, you're not even trying to impress me, or you're assuming that, and I just, that I'm cool with it. And I feel like you're talking to me like one of the guys. I don't feel like there's any level of like, what do you call it? Like pursuit or anything. And I don't even mean like they need to carry the conversation, because people will say when they talk to me, you're really easy to talk to. But I'm not going to carry an entire conversation by myself. Yeah. And it's bad, you guys.
Stimulation you have to just have, the engagement.
It's even beyond that. Like, don't call. can't talk on the phone, don't call me. Don't. Because I'm going to hit the, hey, I'm busy, what's up?
Did y'all hear that?
Sometimes, a lot of times, I find that
Don't call her. There you go, Jerome.
text message, and it's so annoying because then I'm such a grammar Nazi. Now you're over here texting me, you're beautiful. Y-O-U-R. And I'm like, apostrophe R-E. And they're like, well, what does that mean? And I'm like, no, like, I need you to, now I can't talk to you because I know that you don't know the difference.
I think you have to change locations of where you're meeting these guys.
Swipe left.
I think you need to change the location.
But you guys, I'm literally going to start doing videos for these men because you guys, I'm sure in your circle, you see a lot of people like you, but literally the level of conversation that you're having right now is like Harvard Ivy League compared to what we are used to, like the average Joe. I am talking about subject, verb, agreement. I'm talking about every other word. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, cause
connection. So there's no connection there because if there is a connection, then I'm going to be stimulated to have an enlightening conversation with you where I'm using more than just
Well, Jerome, I want to know where these means to me.
I'm going to be real. I don't know men that talk like that. I don't.
I'm not gonna lie, I do. I got a buddy who texts me, and I will call him, and I'll be like, "Yo, dude, you're not 13. Can you please spell out your words? This is getting annoying." Like, for real.
Yeah, I do.
Like that. And honestly, if they got your number, then clearly there was a conversation that was had in order for them to get your number in the first place.
True.
I know there's people. I know there's guys like that, but I've never come across personally a guy that I've willingly give my number out to. That was just like.
But Monica, to go to your point, I have met dudes in person, and we have a wonderful conversation. I'm like, all right, call me, let's get together, this and that, and they get on the phone, and I'm like, hey, what's good? And it's like, yeah, I'm just.
Well, maybe they're just not phone people.
Yeah.
Text me or verbalize that you don't verbalize well.
I think that goes back to like you gotta teach a person how to treat you, but like so I know that there are women,
right?
Yeah, you gotta, but there are certain things like you gotta just pick up on it. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it's annoying because guys do it for women. Like we just have to instinctively pick up on certain things that you all do or like or whatever. So it's part of that getting to know you phase, right? But there's two things that I heard. One of them was like being one of the guys, right? So there's a time period where, where women, they're like, I want to be your everything. I can be your best friend. I can be your wife. I can be this. I can be that. I can be this. So the stage one, like, separate the two because you can't be everything for everybody, right? So first separate the two. And then another thing is I know there are women I could call and say, hey, how you doing? And then they would just start dominating the conversation. And I literally could put the phone on mute and just let them go. And I'm like, yeah, So before you accuse, and I'm not saying you all do this, but before you accuse somebody of not having conversation, the question is, are you letting them speak? Because if they have found in your behavior that they're not going to be able to get a word in except, yeah, yes, they're not going to talk. I'm not going to talk. Sometimes I just want to hear them talk because I'm just bored. I just be like, you know what? I'm calling the person. Watch him go.
Watch him go.
If you call me,
I ain't calling you. You're gonna be like, what you doing?
Wait, let's do it. Let's do it right now. Jason and Allie, mock phone call right now. Jason, you just swipe left. She just gave you her number. This is your first conversation. Let's see this live. I want a good 5-minute conversation.
I gotta call her.
Oh, you gotta call her. She ain't that kind of girl.
Oh, okay. Let me get my phone out.
Right.
Look, I want to eavesdrop.
Come on, Jason.
How long I gotta go for? I gotta go for 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Jesus. All right, start the clock.
All right.
Long time. All right, ring.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How's your day going so far?
It's going good. It's going good. I can't complain. How's yours?
It's going good. So what'd you get into today?
Oh, just a bunch of meetings and had to go to basketball practice with my kid,
What? Tell me about those meetings. What happened in the meetings?
Oh, it was just a lot. We were talking about contractual changes and stuff like that. It was just a lot. It's going to be a lot of work.
Contracts? You make any money? Make any millions?
Not yet, but it's definitely coming.
I can see that. And then you went to basketball practice? Were you playing?
Yeah.
You said your kid was playing? Who was playing?
Yeah, no, my kid was playing. Yeah.
Okay. Did you do a game of Horse 21?
Yeah, no, I'm a cheerleader.
Oh, okay. So you be wearing the skirts and stuff, huh?
Yeah, it's fine.
I see you. Okay. All right. So,
How was your day?
Oh, it was pretty good. Started off at about 5 a.m., got up, got dressed, started posting out emails because, sometimes when you get into your day, like the actual day, then you can't get nothing in because the phone keep ringing, emails keep coming, and all that other stuff. So I just jumped into it.
Now I'm going to pause you guys right there because I know 5 minutes.
Because that never happened.
Right, no. And I was going to say, I want to break down what went right because this was like the type of, I've had conversations like this that go well, but I want to break down why it went right, okay? The reason why is because both people were asking questions. Both people were actively listening. So she gave 2 pieces of information and he asked about both. He asked about the meetings, he asked about the basketball, but he followed up with individual questions. A lot of guys would be like, what'd you do today? I had a meeting. And then it dies. So you have to be engaged. The other thing that is to note that this is so important on a first impression because the man takes the lead. You flirted. So she said cheerleader. You saw an opportunity to mention a skirt. It was innocent and light, but it was acknowledging that you are a woman and I'm attracted to you. It's that subtlety. And some guys either will say no flirtatious stuff or they go to the extreme, like, well, what that mouth do? Like, whoa, buddy, I was talking about my son's basketball. Like,
I was 2 seconds away. We on camera.
He was like, my pants are already unbuckled. But it's like, I remember. I was trying to flirt with somebody, and it was so weird because he told me that he liked me. Like, there was no negative thing, but it was the weirdest conversation. So there were 3 separate times I tried to flirt. So he was talking about a situation and, talking about a PE teacher. And I was like, ooh, if you were my PE teacher, something flirtatious. He was like, but then that would make me he didn't say the word pedophile, but like, that'd be inappropriate because you'd be and I was just like, but I was like taking it so literally. And then, he was holding the phone a certain way so that I saw his lips and I was like, ooh, don't put your phone that close. Oh no, I was just trying to hear you. It was like, sometimes you have to like tune in to the sexual energy because that fun banter is the part that we like. And I'm literally going to do a video, and a lot of people say this. A lot of people, the reactions that you guys have. Oh my God, who are you talking to? Or what Neanderthals are out there? I'm telling you, there are a lot out there. You guys are not the norm.
I think what Natasha said in the chat is very appropriate. She said this is not her experience talking to mature men, though. And I don't think she just means in terms of age, but in terms of who they are, in terms of their level of maturity, right? Yes. And Jason, obviously, like, he was able to keep it like flirtatious, professional, and personal all within, and it wasn't even a minute. It was maybe a minute and a half. So
a minute and 10 seconds.
Tell you,
it was that long.
A minute and 10 seconds. No, I'm saying, but he did a lot in a minute and 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. So but I can tell you that I'm not going to say most, let me stop generalizing. A lot of men that I've encountered, I either get what I got with Jason, or I get the complete, doesn't matter what they're like. I've dated like freaking engineers, so they have a whole lot to talk about. I'm like, school me, teach me something. Let's talk about what you actually do at work. And they'd be like, well,
I fix things.
We lit a bomb on fire. What kind of bomb was that? Like, we're like, it just was like, and I'm like, what kind of Neanderthal you didn't have to take communications class in college? Like, come on now. Yeah. Talking 101, I don't know.
So to my point, I will say, in part of my profession, I had to learn to communicate, and I had to learn to be quick about it and get in and get out, right? Because
You in sales?
huh?
You in sales?
No, I'm in talent acquisition, talent recruitment. So when we get on the phone, I can literally tell in about 5 to 10 minutes if you're gonna be a good fit for the role or not. It doesn't literally take me long.
Yep.
So I'm accustomed to doing it. Plus, I've taken watch YouTubes on speech and building connections and stuff like that. And so I understand that I have to let my wall down a little bit in order for somebody to meet me, on that playing field. Because when I got on the phone with her in this scenario, she was kind of cold and she was tap dancing around subjects. So I was like, okay, well, fine. If you're going to make me pull this out of you, then this is what we're going to do. So I just started probing and pulling stuff out. And then I started to drop in a comedic bomb, if you will, when I could, just to have her relax. So there is unfortunately an art and science to this. And unfortunately, not everybody know it, because I've had women that I talked to with no conversation.
Right.
And it got to the point where I was like, I don't even want to talk.
It takes the fun out of it. It is. It's totally draining.
In a lot of ways, is you actually exerted feminine energy. When you say you drop how you're
right.
you pull back, because if she was all over here, and it seems, and I see where, what is your name? Allie. If that's how your conversation, you said, if a guy's gonna call me, just sit on the phone. Why did you call me? It seems like if he does not start the conversation, and if he doesn't continue the conversation, because it seemed like he was the one probing and starting the conversation, and then you finally was like, "How was your day?" Then it's like you completely just like, no. You know what I mean? That's just listening and watching. You were literally just waiting on him to ask you the questions. How was your day? What did you do? All of this stuff.
I found it very engaging.
Right.
Now, but this is interesting, Monica, because she just said, but he called. So, and I think this is interesting, and hopefully nobody gets defensive, because you guys are being very vulnerable, one, being on a live stream, but then two, using a real life fake scenario. But I think this makes for a very good teachable moment. So your initial thing that you said was, well, he called me. I will say this, and men, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm an advocate for men. A lot of men feel like they're carrying the conversation. And I know what that feels like, because that's usually my experience. So I would say, if that's your take, before I move on, out of all you guys, raise your hand if you feel like she could have contributed more to direct things back at Jason. 2, 3.
Well, you
okay.
cut me off too, though, because I didn't say how was your day, and then you was like, all right.
But no, this isn't meant to be an attack.
No,
and
no,
it happened really fast. And in your defense, I actually didn't pick up on it. When Monica said it, it made me kind of think back about how many questions were asked. But I think that what we can do is we could take a mental note, all of us, and kind of keep a tally like a volleyball game, and see how many times the ball is being lobbed back. Because you might have felt like it was a great conversation. He might have felt like, man, I did all the work. So I'm making it extreme for the point of people who aren't as engaging as you were, because you were very engaged. But I think that with people, we are very in our heads when we first meet someone, and we're very on edge. Like, do they like us back? And you read into everything. And so the last person that I started to get to know, he says with his mouth one thing, but his actions are totally different. It is the most monotone, dry answers ever. And it's so weird. And I'm like Jason. I'm big on speaking. I'm big on mirroring, to the point I'm an empath. If you cry, I'll start to cry. If you scowl, I'll start to do it too. And I'm like, what am I doing? I mirror naturally. So if you're really, really dry, I start feeling like I should just go. It's very unpleasant, and I feel like I'm wasting your time, and I'll keep saying, oh, well, let me let you go. And then the person's like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, well, you tell your face that, and your whole body and your tone of voice, because you sound like you could not be any less interested. So I definitely think that that's an opportunity. I think another thing that's important is
letting a person finish their thoughts.
Yes.
Even though we get excited, like we could be having a great conversation about a TV show, like learn to let a person finish their thoughts. So like I remember there was this joke that was out there, and the lady said she went to her therapist, and she said my husband doesn't talk to me. You know, we're not really connected. I don't feel like there's doing anything, and this, that, and the other. And he said, okay, so here's what I want you to do. He said, next time you go to talk to your husband, have a glass of water. Every time you get ready to speak, take a sip, right? And so
she
said, the lady came back like 2 weeks later, and she's like, wow, you know, everything is going great. He's opening up more. He's doing this. What happened? What was it about the water? He said, really nothing. It just kept you from speaking because you can't speak while you're drinking. So it forced you to listen. So I think, and I found myself a lot of times in conversations where I've had to say, but can I finish? Can I finish my thought? And it got to the point where they say, okay, finish your thought. And I'm like, I forgot.
Never mind.
Or it's a hostile environment to where you don't feel like finishing your thought.
Yeah.
It's
When
listen to
somebody tells me
understand,
that,
not
I
listen
thought I
to
was never
respond.
But it goes back to those behaviors that has developed throughout your life that you haven't been challenged on, and you just grow into it, and it just carries over to every aspect of your life, and you think it's normal. It's it's what the young lady said, normalized dysfunction. But until someone mirrors it and challenges you on it, you'll never be able to deal with it.
I want to bring it back to this point. I promised Jason that we would get back to it. Thank you, Devance. Jason, you brought up something that I've given a lot of thought to. And you were talking about what is the appropriate level of vulnerability that a man can offer. And I remember I reposted someone's post and it said, you know, ladies, do you really want him to show that vulnerability that you're asking? He said it in a very poignant way, so you can go back and look at one of my IG posts. But I really thought about it. And this is why I was making that point to say, for me, if a man seems like his emotions are controlling him, that's the defining factor for me. So if you're angry, but you're so angry that you're yelling and you're saying things that you're going to regret, or you're getting physical and you're punching, that anger has now taken over you. If you're sad and you're so sad that you're unable to go to work that day and now we lose our house, I'm being dramatic, but you know, you can't continue, or you're so into this chick that you're cheating on me because you can't control your emotions, that to me is where it's beyond. And I think that society tends to allow women to be out of control with emotions, which is why society doesn't frown on women vandalizing, breaking, well, it's the same thing, stealing, or, you know, just beating up a guy. Obviously she can't overpower him easily, but being physical, they condone a lot of things because like, oh, it's just her emotions. But I think to answer your question, for me, I would be turned off if a man was sobbing. Like if it wasn't a situation of like death or whatever, if he couldn't get it together after a certain point, I would kind of feel a little bit like, because the man is the stability from a masculine feminine energy perspective. We want our balance. We want the polarity. And so if I'm overly emotional and he's overly emotional, I purposely said overly, then for me it throws me off kilter and I feel like something's out of whack.
I can agree with that. There was a time when I could not receive a man who was overly sensitive or overly emotional. I just couldn't process it. Like, you're crying because of something that has nothing to do with you, but you can't do that. But now I'm like, I prefer, like, I need somebody that, you know, maybe you did cry at that movie because I was crying too, but it's okay. I don't want you to feel like, oh, you know, something, you're off, or in Atlanta, you're gay because you're crying over, like, no, like, normalize that men got feelings too. Like, I feel like that's the biggest thing, is that we as women have even made it hard for men themselves to deal with or even accept, or I don't know what the word is I'm looking for at the moment, but be sensitive, be emotional, be in touch with that, and know, you know, because A, B, and C happened is why I feel this way, or why this or that.
But I think expressing your emotion and being out of control are two different things. Like,
well, yeah, in your instance, that's a lot.
Because it could be like, I'm so angry, because I'm a big fan of talking it out. So it could say, let's say if Jason and I were in a relationship and Jason says, you know what, you have been cutting me off. I am really pissed right now. I'm going to go take a walk around the block. He's having emotions, and they're very strong emotions, but he's mature enough to handle them in a way that's constructive. Or if he says, you know, I did not appreciate the fact that you sat damn near on my friend's leg last night when we went out to the bar or whatever. Like, it doesn't mean he's this hysterically jealous guy, but he's a big boy. He can communicate his feelings. I'm not going to judge him because he had, you know, he felt like territorial, like I was crossing the line. That's just my man expressing himself and putting boundaries out there. To me, it's just when I think of an overly emotional guy, it's when you cannot control it. You know, he's on me.
Yeah, when it's excessive.
Yeah.
What I've learned to
I
say.
need an example of excessive. Because I cry at movies.
Are you in the fetal position for 10 minutes after it ends, Jerome?
Nah.
Okay, that would be excessive. A little pollen in the air, you know.
I mean, I've been at movies and like my wife is handing me the tissue because she knows I'm going to be crying.
Yeah, that's different. That's different.
You know, I don't know. I know I'm a sensitive dude, and you know that comes back to what Monica said earlier about our upbringing. I was raised by a woman who was abused by my father.
Mm-hmm.
And me, as my mother's second oldest child, I was the protector of my mother.
Right.
And one of the things about me is, as I became a man, when it comes to the women in my life, and Yonci, you know this, I've put my life on the line.
Yeah. You don't play.
Continue to no.
Don't play with the women in Jerome's life.
No. That's just, you know, that comes back to the way that I was raised. But like crying, if I have a day at work that just is frustrating, I need to be in the room alone to cry for a little bit. But I'm coming out gully. I'm coming out Jay Hurt strong, for real.
I have a question about that.
You know, we need to be able to. It's for me, and I get it that there's a way that men do express themselves negatively, but for me to have the space and the ability, right? When my mom's died, my therapist said to me, Jerome, go in a room and everybody who you needed to talk about that's bringing your emotions where they are, you talk as if you're in that room with them. And it was loud and it was ugly, right? But it made me feel better. That's me being able to get it up off me. I don't feel a safe place with my woman that I could be vulnerable like that, then man, she ain't for me because I'm a sensitive dude, number one. But at the second point, and I'm being so real, I'm the baddest cat anybody in my family knows. Seriously. So,
but Jerome,
and I'm not saying that to brag, but that's just honest.
But Jerome, you mentioned your mom passing away.
But you can't accept his.
Right.
That's the question.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. What is overly emotional? You
I don't understand that.
Controlling your emotions. So,
I mean,
this is my thing. So this is my thing. I'm a daddy's girl. Extremely close to my father.
I remember.
Extremely close to my father. He's emotional. But he's also, he is not one to be played with. He is definitely not one to be played with.
Especially when it comes to his daughter, and I'm the same way with my baby girl.
Exactly.
I cry if anything.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what is. Me personally, I love when a man can express his emotions. I love when a man will cry. I love when a man will allow me to be in my craziness when I want to cut loose and do whatever. And I love, if he's mad, feel that emotion. Right. If you hurt, feel that emotion too. If you want to break stuff, feel that emotion. But bottle it up.
But Monica, if it was every week,
that's unhealthy.
If he was crying every week about, like, is there something that you feel would not be worth crying? So let's say, for example, someone said something to him at work and it hurt his feelings and he came home and cried. And then the next day he lost a basketball game with a pickup ball down the street and he cried. Is there a limit to where you're feeling? Because that's what I'm saying. I'm not asking a person to be inhuman.
But then if that's what he was doing, he would have been doing that in the courting process. He would have been doing that before I even decided to date him.
But that's my point. That's my point. Isn't that too much? Is there a point where there is too much emotion?
It's never too much. somebody that's dealing with traumas, somebody that's dealing with unhealed hurt, that's never too much. They need to go get help.
But that's what I'm saying, though. For you, I'm asking for you, because I'm saying women are always saying, we want a man who's emotional. And that post made me really think about it. If I had a guy who I make his favorite dinner, he starts crying. He loses a basketball game, he starts crying. He gets a flat tire, he starts crying.
But have you ever, honestly, Yonci, have you ever met a man that, oh my God, I lost a basketball game, I'm crying. Oh my God.
We're just having a...
Yes. At the game, yes. But when I get to the crib, no.
Have you ever met somebody like that? Honestly, and I don't think that's what that point was about. I don't think whoever made that post, I don't think that post was about that.
I think there are some people, I think there's a condition where some people cannot control that. Like, it's part of who they are. Like, they literally can't control it, right?
Unhealed.
Absolutely.
That's what I feel.
I meant from a medical standpoint. I think there are some people who just cannot control that stuff.
And Jason, you talked about it earlier, being a black man in corporate America.
Oh, man. Right?
There are certain things that are just designed to keep us down. And every single day.
And silent.
And I remember, so again, I would rather be able to express that than the older generation, my uncles, who I looked at, who could not express that in any way, shape, or form. Right? So then they walked around angry every single day. I don't want to be that. I want to be able to, babe, I'm going into the bedroom for a little bit. Just give me some space. I'll be right back. Because she wants that same thing, right? So for me to be able to let it out, and then when I come out, I am who I am. It's healing for me in that room. And it's loving for me when I come out of that room, because then my wife is wrapping her arms around me.
But Jerome, I feel like that sounds very controlled. For you to be able to tell your wife, I need this space, and go there, have that space and come out, that feels very organized to me and very in control. So I just wanted to be clear. I'm not saying, oh my God, that would bug me if I was your woman. I'm saying if you are unhinged and you can't, because I don't want a girlfriend like that. I don't want to be around a girl that she's flying off the handle. She's overly, I have emotions too. And I'll say, I need a minute. I feel like that's okay. But to just be beside yourself and I've dealt with emotional guys, and it's not when they're like that. Like,
I talking about, because I too, like I have an ex, and it would take one thing that would make him unhinged, and then 2 hours later, I'm patching holes in the wall, and I'm like,
why? That's trauma. That's something he ain't healed from. That's something that he grew up watching. That's what that is. That's not mean he needs to see somebody about this.
Who patched the holes back up?
Me.
Wow. Y'all, I cannot believe it has already been 2 hours. It's so crazy. I said, I'm only going to do, when we got on the pre-call, I said, we're only going to do 1 hour unless it's popping. And y'all, it was popping. I'm like, y'all had me going. So I'm really excited. We had a lot of new people today. I saw a lot of new names that I haven't recognized before in the comments. Normally, I get to almost all of them. But today, y'all had me so fired up. I didn't even get a chance really to look at them. If you guys have any questions to close out, I'm going to give you an opportunity for those of you who did stick around the full 2 hours. Comment your questions. If you had a question or something that just burning desire that you wanted to say, I'll take a look now. But I really appreciate you guys. There was a comment earlier saying that it was so refreshing. Sorry, someone's feedback. They said it was really refreshing seeing the new males, hearing the new take, your take on it. So it was really nice. A lot of times we have a lot of women on, so it is always nice to hear men speak and give their take. And I really hope that this isn't your last time. No pressure, you're on air, but I hope it's not the last time you guys come on, because it's always good. It's always helpful having debates. Natasha says, just let dudes be dudes, however they want to dude. That's cute. Maisha says that may be a mental health issue. Natasha says that in some West African regional cultures, heterosexual men hold hands and hug. So I can't wait to read all these comments, because you guys were going wild in the comments in the best way. I mean that in the best way possible. But especially to those of you who are on the East Coast or even Central, I appreciate you being on for so late. I really appreciate your time. I'm going to do my closeout, you guys. So I'm going to say goodbye to you here. And I'm going to do my formal goodbye to everybody else on here if I can get my little screens together. Oh, Lord. Maybe not. Hang on a second. Oh, I know what I can do. Let me give you guys my cute little screen. Okay, so let me get my screen together, you guys. I forgot how to do this for 2 seconds. All right, there we go. And let me know if you guys in the comments, if you enjoyed the conversation today, if there's another topic that you would like to go into more detail on another episode, I'll get more into that. It looks like I've got this. Okay, perfect. All right, I'm still gonna manifest somebody to help me. All right, guys, finally got my screen together. Thank you for hanging on while I got that. I want to leave you guys with a few closing thoughts. I have been having some really good growth. And by the way, if you guys can mute yourself because I'm hearing some feedback with the Zoom. But if you guys have paid attention, I've started to get more and more views with every single video. Some of them are in the thousands now. And so I've said this since day one. If you want to get in on advertising, now is the time to do it where my prices are very low. Videos are evergreen. So if you spend, let's say, $10 on Instagram, there's a post and it goes away. It's out of people's feed. But if you post on a YouTube video, it is evergreen. So if you're interested, send me a DM on Instagram or send me an email, contact Yonci. That is an option. Also, grab some merch. If you guys want to go to my shop, grab the link in my description. And you guys can get some shirts, sweatshirts. It's probably a little hot for sweatshirts, but you can have them for the winter. And you can also pick up my book. I'm going to flash it here on the screen. But you have the book for women, First Date 101, A Man's Guide to Dating Men. This is stuff from the man's perspective on what they are looking for. So even though I am a woman and the author of this book, I am just passing on the information that I got from all the guys that I interviewed. And for the guys, Why Women Love Assholes, this is a very easy read. It's only 24 pages. And it is explaining what it is about the bad boy that women are drawn to. So the good guys can start to take on these aspects and attributes, and they can start to win with the ladies because there's just certain things that we like. One of the last things I want to mention is my Sunshine Club. I said at the beginning, I'm really excited about that. We've been doing it for a couple months. Some of the people actually are in it who are on tonight. But it's an ongoing thing. It's a monthly subscription on Facebook. It's a private community. We encourage each other. We have different goals and challenges. And in July, I'm starting a 30-day challenge. And we're going to be keeping each other on our best. I feel like there is the best level that we can be. And sometimes it takes accountability to have that. For other people, some people have just come out of a divorce or going through a divorce and going through troubling times. And sometimes it's easier to vent to strangers than it is to people that you love and know. All right, guys, so that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, tell someone that you love them.